What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Neeks Sports, and we're going to be just reviewing some cricket. The couple series that we had, West Indies versus Sri Lanka. We're going to start with. We've also got India versus England and New Zealand versus Australia. Hopefully, I'll be joined with Ram sooner or later. He's a New Zealand fan, and maybe we can chat about New Zealand. Oh, he's just joined me actually. We can chat about New Zealand versus Australia. But before we do that, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'm gonna bring in Ram. As I said, New Zealand fan. We've been on here before chatting cricket. But before we get into all of that, how are you doing? Obviously, I know you don't want to speak about Liverpool, but how are you doing?
Not bad, even though Liverpool are playing like crap, at least one world-class team is turning up, which is New Zealand. So I'm all right. I'm all right.
Before we go into that, in terms of the sort of the three matches or the three series I want to chat about, West Indies, Sri Lanka, India, England, and obviously New Zealand, Australia. Did you watch any of the other two?
I watched England, India. My dad was watching West Indies, Sri Lanka. I don't know the score for that. He was watching it. I was like,
well, it finished 2-1 in the end. Well, okay, let's start with the India. Start with the India England. Now, I think it was a good test series. Obviously started very well for England. Won the first test by a massive margin. Joe Root got a double century in the first test, and I feel like India kind of said, obviously, that we know they're both going for the World Test Championship final. The winner of the series was likely to be into the final against New Zealand, who's already secured their place in the final. And I think England won that first match, and India, and obviously with their, they've got contacts within, obviously they're the home ground, they can chat to the groundsman, etc. Kind of said, guys, make sure we make a pitch that England can't bat on. Like, even if we're going to struggle, make sure England can't bat on. Because the first match, England scored 578.
yeah.
And India got bowled out for 300 and 192, lost it by 227. And I think India felt like this match is too the pitch is too easy to bat on, so let's make it a spinner's paradise. Before we even get onto the match, do you think it's right, or do you think it's just where it is in cricket that a home team can just kind of tell the groundsman to make a pitch that completely favors one type of bowling or one side more than the other, or is that just how it is in cricket?
Personally, I'm all for the spirit of the game. Like, one thing I love about cricket, spirit of the game is always there. Sportsmanship is a massive thing. And personally, for me, I don't think it's right for any team to have any sort of advantage on everyone. It should be an equal playing field. It should be a team is only wins if they have the quality and if they have the will to win. And from this, everyone knows that England's weakest points are spinners and everything like that. But to purposely try to make the pitch to suit your favor, it's a bit I don't think.
That's the funny thing, because I think my only issue when it comes to it is just have the same energy. So when people come over to England, we know that it's going to be seaming, it's going to be swinging. Obviously, you can't control the conditions, but you can decide whether you're going to have more grass on the pitch, etc., etc. When I'm going to come into some of the comments just now, but when England, and you go to England, or sometimes you go to even New Zealand, and it's just seam. Like, we played a test match in New Zealand, West Indies, and the day before, the pitch was just green. Like, it looked like a football pitch. And then obviously they trim it down a bit, but it just seems, and no one ever has an issue. The question only ever gets brought up when it's spinning, because I guess the spinning nature of the pitch is, let's say it goes against the traditions of cricket, because we know cricket started in England, etc., etc. But for me, I'm just like, it's a part of the game. It's a part of the game that everyone should just get on with. If you're ever going to make it one rule across the board, and you say ICC control what kind of pitches you get across the board, or You just allow the home team to do what they do, and when you allow the home team to do what you do, you get what we saw in this test match, which we're going to get through. A couple of comments here. One from Dashmi says, "Ram, which team do you support?"
I support New Zealand.
And there's a comment from Halamadrid that says 2015 India pitches made De Villiers and Amla look average in that test series. And Amla's a very good player of spin.
Yeah,
Amla's a very good player of spin.
I get it. Like certain pitches, like everyone knows about the MCG, is India's favorite ground to play on, especially when they're against Australia, because Australia's greatest asset are their seamers and the swing bowlers, and a pitch that flat, it doesn't suit their type of style of bowling, and everyone knows that. But that's just the nature of what that ground is. But I've actually had the luxury of playing in Chennai, and I'm a swing bowler, and I do pretty well in that pitch. Like it's I don't understand why the pitch. I think there was some pitch I want to say tampering, but accommodation to their spinners. Like
100%. Which you're going to. Dashme's not having it. He says, "Who told you pitches should spin after the 4th day? Who made this rule that there should be seaming pitches? How is that wrong?" Yes, I'm going to get onto in terms of when a pitch should start spinning. We'll get onto it as we go through a few of the matches. And he also says, "You guys make the pitch according to you guys. English pitches, Australian pitches. Everyone has home advantage. So please stop the drama, Ram."
But it's like, for me, for example, right? In New Zealand, everyone knows New Zealand's best bowlers are their swing and their seamers. But even then, Mitch Santner somehow comes up again a couple of wickets. So I don't understand why that can't be the same for everyone else. Like,
well, as I said, after the first game, let's say England made 578. India basically said never again, not happening, no way, and went into the second test in Chennai, as you mentioned. Actually, both the tests were in Chennai.
Both tests were in Chennai.
On the same ground.
Yep.
But on different wickets at the same ground.
Is it the Chidambaram Stadium? Yeah,
it's at the stadium, and it's like it was like you were in a complete different country from the first pitch. India made 329. England got rattled out 134. And then India batted again, set England. How much they set them to win? About 490 or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And they got bowled out for 164. For me, the standout of that match was you got Rohit Sharma. Now, Rohit Sharma made 161. And so when I saw a pitch like this, for me, I'm like, when I see a team get close to 300 twice, I got 329 at 286. So on average, it's about 600 across in total for the two innings. For me, that's a good pitch, because if one team can get 300 pretty much on both innings, then for me it comes purely down to the skill of the batsman to navigate the pitch. Yeah. England getting 134, 164. For me, that is England are unable to. Yeah, they're unable to play the spin bowling. They're unable to play the pitch, and of course the pressure comes into it. Shum made 161, Rahane 67, Pant 58. I'm going to talk about Pant as well. I think this guy's a phenomenal talent. Yeah. But England, other than Ben Folkes, who got 42, and I rate Ben Folkes very highly. I've been calling for him to be in the England side for a long time because I think he is easily their best wicketkeeper. And I would say, for me, he's their best test cricket style batsman. Bairstow ain't great. Butler's technique, I think, is poor, even though he does somehow scores runs. I don't think his technique's very good.
He's on McCullum. He's not on McCullum. Like,
no.
McCullum's technique is not the best, but he still somehow scores runs consistently in Test cricket. He's not like that. He is a pure limited overs batsman.
I think so. Like, if the pitch is flat or the runs on the board are high, then he can come in and kind of take a game away from you. But I don't want him to come in any kind of crisis or to rebuild an innings or anything like that. He will score quick, and that's literally what he does. But I think there's also ways that you can score quick. I think when we talk about the fourth test, when we get there, Nasser Sen came out and spoke. Well, he kind of tweeted saying, "I don't want anyone to hear anyone ever say again, this is the way I play, because he was talking about how Rishabh Pant kind of adopted his game to make to get the runs that he did, and obviously Kevin Peterson replying in the comments saying something, because that used to be a common theme of the England cricketers around the Kevin Peterson era. This is the way I play. It doesn't matter if I get out. This is the way I play. And NASA saying it ain't having it. But again, in that match, Virat Kohli scores 62 in the second innings. Ashwin scores another century. So for me, the pitch was good enough to bat on. If you got a lower order, number 7, number 8 in Ashwin scoring a century, for me, that's good enough to bat on. You just have to, for me, credit the India bowlers, Ashwin,
the spinners,
Axar Patel. I think I don't even know this guy. I don't know this guy. I didn't hear of him before this series.
I think he was a substitute for the Australia series, and I think one of their bowlers got injured, so he got substituted in, and he ended up doing very well.
Okay,
they stuck with him. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, because
he did very well in the IPL.
Okay, that's the thing with the IPL. Yeah, it really has brought through a lot of India talent that we probably wouldn't have seen if it wasn't for it. But you know, one of the biggest things. So obviously that match finished 1-1. India won by 317, and you're thinking, all right, it's going to be a long series for England, because India is just going to say, all right, let's just create pitches like that for the rest of the series. Let's just create the pitches. Make sure England come back. But you go to the the third test. England bowled out 412. But then they bowl out India for 145. So you're thinking, all right, cool, game on. India rattle out England for 81. Now, this was the pitch really that I had a problem with. I know in the comments, Dashmeet, you're saying everyone can adopt pitches and how pitches, who says they have to spin after the fourth day. I don't have a problem with spinning pitches, but I have a problem with Test cricket that ends inside 2 days.
Yeah,
I think it was a 2-day. It was a day-night match. It was 2 days. That's my issue. I don't really care what pitch you produce, as long as it's not dangerous. If it swings, if it seams, we want a result. So we don't want a flat track where everyone's just scoring 600 runs. Yeah. But equally, we don't want a pitch where it's over in 2 days, because this is Test cricket. So everyone's supposed to get bang for their buck. 5 days, whether it's the TV companies, the match going fans, whatever it is, you want to see 5 days, at least 4 days of quality cricket. If you can win the game in 4 days, credit to you. But when the home side are getting bowled out for 145, India, if they can't bat on this pitch against England spinners, for me, that's where I have an issue with the pitch.
And the fact that the best bowler was Joe Root.
Oh, I forgot. I even forgot about that. I even forgot. He got like what? He got 5 for?
5 for 8. 5 for 8. 5 for 8.
5 for 8 in 6.2 overs. So, and my problem is, it's like you had a lot of commentators. I don't know what the ICC have rated the pitch since, because they can't rate it high. The match was finished in 2 days. A lot of commentators were just kind of talking about, the batsman needs to be more disciplined. They can't put it down to the pitch, just to kind of absolve maybe the BCCI or the groundsman of producing a poor quality wicket. For me, it was a poor quality wicket because the game was over in 2 days. When Joe Root gets 5 for 8, you have to ask questions. Like, Joe Root shouldn't be getting 5, let alone 5 for 8.
It's not like it was Don Best or Jack Leach, because then that's understandable.
It is more understandable. It's acceptable to an extent. And I think if you get bowled out by any spinner 5 for 8, it's already a bit of a disgrace. But the thing is, and one of the points that we're making is, a lot of the balls that you're getting out to are the straight balls, and that's what Axar Patel did very well, wicket to wicket, and he bowls the straight ball, and he gets them out. But the problem is, it's all the balls before, because if they're turning square and there's a puff of dust, explosion, that kind of stuff, then you don't know what's going to happen. So if every ball's turning and you're playing for the spin, you play for the spin because it's turning, and then they finally bowl on straight. Of course, the straight one's going to get you out. So you can't just say, they get out to the straight ball. Yeah, they get out to the straight ball because everything else has been turning 90 degrees.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Hala Madrid says, Root looking like prime Graham Swan.
Not even that, even better, honestly. 5 Like he's not a seasoned test bowler. Like he
No,
bowls
no.
occasionally.
In
But
ODIs, he's all right
yeah,
sometimes.
but he's not the kind of guy that gets 5 for 8 against a really good Indian
India
team.
as well, you know. India, who
Yeah,
are so like they're in their home conditions. They're supposed to master the spinning conditions. Dashmi
yeah.
says Axar Patel was the best young talent in 2014
Mm.
IPL. Back to that comment there. He says, great, it'll be a great to face you in the World Test Championship final. I'm scared of Bolt, Salvi, and the ultimate destroyer, Jameson. Oh god, and the venue will be Southampton. So is that confirmed yet? Because I know initially they
I
were
think
saying Lords. It was supposed to be Lords, but I
I
don't know
think
if is it because of
I,
COVID why they moved it.
I think it's in South. I think they've always tried to not get it at Lords, try to get it at Southampton. I don't know why,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I think it's going to be at Southampton. Honestly,
Because when I
preferably
did go on.
Lords. Preferably, I'll pick Lords because of obviously it will suit our bowling lineup. But
Well, I think I would like to see it at Old Trafford. I think Old Trafford, especially with a Test match, I think it's a good batting wicket, but it also spins after day three. So I think it would be a good balance test. Southampton. Wow, what ground is that? The Rose Bowl, isn't it? Yeah, that one does spin
yes,
as well. To be
no,
fair, yeah, that does spin as well. But what I was wondering if it was because of COVID, and I know that Old Trafford and Southampton have got like hotels which are connected to the
yeah.
ground, so maybe the for the players to stay in the hotels. I don't know. Before we go on, Adam just says Ashwin or Harbhajan Singh.
Ashwin, pure bias,
Wait,
because he's
why
Tamil.
bias? Why?
Because he's Tamil. That's why.
Oh, okay. You know what? It's hard for me to say. I think there's probably some bias in terms of nostalgia. But I would say I think Harbhajan Singh's a. I see. You can probably bring out all the stats, and I might be wrong, but I'm gonna say Harbhajan Singh for me is a better bowler. But I think all round cricket, Ashwin easily. Like it's not even close. Because Ashwin is a very decent low order batsman, very decent.
Yeah, probably one. He's a bit like Mitch Santner. He is like the
Sorry,
Indian
who's like
version.
Mitch Santner?
Ashwin. In terms of he's like
Ashwin's
batting
much
wise.
better than Mitch Santner.
I don't know about that.
Oh come on!
I don't know about that.
Ashwin.
As a bowler, yeah, as a bowler, he's much better. But as a batsman, I don't know. I don't know about batsman.
Is Mitch Santner that great a batsman?
Oh, he could hit. He could score runs. He could score a lot of runs. He's quite consistent.
Well, we'll see.
And he's still young. And he's still young.
We'll see in the Test Championship, innit? We will see. That'll be interesting. Orlando says, "How was going to save India on many occasions?" I remember I had this on VHS. I used to record a lot of matches on VHS. I just put the video in there, long record, and just tape it on the TV. And there was a match where he got a hat trick. I think it was the first hat trick I've ever seen. And I can't remember who they were playing, but
I think it was Pakistan. He always used to turn up against Pakistan.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they had for the hat trick ball. Who was the captain at the time? Can't remember who was the captain. Ganguly? Maybe Ganguly. They had about 7-8 man around the bat. It was crazy. They were like, we are getting this hat trick one way or another. And of course, I think it went to the guy at short leg or whatever it was. I think he was so good. But if I'm right, wasn't he out bowled by Moeen Ali? When not Moeen Ali, Monty Palliser. When England went there, I want to say 2011. I'm sure Harbhajan was still bowling at the time. Also, it was near the end of his career, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah,
it was definitely an Indian guy from
England.
From England. It was definitely not Ravi Bopara.
No.
I guarantee it must have been Monty Palliser. I think it was Monty Palliser.
What's this? Adelaide one where it ended on third day even. Bangladesh versus India. No, listen. This one ended in 2 days. I'm sure it was 2 days.
It was 2 days.
It was 2 days. 3 days is one thing, and generally when you've got a team that is much better, so Bangladesh versus India, much better. It should end in if it goes into 4 or 5 days, India are going to be disappointed with themselves. But when you've got two should be evenly matched teams, one match. England won by 227. India won the next one by 300. to end the match in 2 days, I don't think it's
It's
great.
4-day test matches, aren't they? Right now.
No, 5 days.
Oh, it's still. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
5
still
days.
5 days.
What,
Still
I
5
thought
days.
that I was hearing that
I think they were trialing 4-day test matches. Dashmi says his hat trick was against Australia.
It was 2 days. Finished on the 25th of February.
Yeah, that's
it was
crazy.
The second day. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Was it against Australia? All I know that he always used to perform against Pakistan.
India-Pakistan is a brilliant rivalry. Hallam just says Santos a BTEC Vittori.
Oh, hey, Vittori's a boss bowler.
Vittori's a brilliant bowler. I used to like it because he used to play in his glasses, and I was like, all right, so I can play in my glasses.
He was
good.
Incredibly good.
He was good. But going on to the obviously India's now 2-1 up, and for me, I'm just like, there's no way England's coming back from this. No way. I think Moeen Ali's gone home by now. They didn't play Dom Bess in the 3rd test. They brought him back from the 4th
why
test.
They didn't.
Well, for me, I didn't understand at the time. But then looking at the 3rd test, so the 4th test, I'm like, maybe I understand. The man went for 4 and over. He went for none for 71 of 17. Now, I don't know if his confidence was shot because he was dropped for that test or whatever. But maybe they didn't pick him because they just don't trust him. But then why would you send Moeen Ali home? I don't know. I don't know.
It's apparently they said they wanted to rest him, but I don't know why.
Rest for what? You need to win the match. You need to win the match. You need to get to the World Championship final. I don't know if he's playing in the ODIs. I know they've got. That's me saying the rotation policy. They've got ODIs or T20s. I don't know what they're playing next, but they've got a lot of players who are maybe playing both formats. They've got players flying in, flying out, go back to their families. Obviously, they just came from Sri Lanka, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they're trying to balance all of that. But I mean, this is competitive sport. You just need the matches in front of you. Unless you're sending him home, you're saying, Don Best, we're done with you. Go home, rest with your family, whatever. If he's there in the country, play. You play your best team. I didn't understand it, and I think it did hurt them. I don't think they would have won the 3rd test anyway. But I think going into that 4th test, his confidence was absolutely gone.
At least the 3rd test, it would have given them a chance.
It would have given them more of a chance, yeah. But when you get bought out for 81, then you're in for hiding for nothing. But definitely, like they both got bought out for 112. If Joe Root can get 5 for 8, you'd think that if Don Best was there, maybe they could have bowled him out for 100 as well, just like literally on the same one.
It's a bit worrying for England because this is not the first time they've been bowled out for a pretty pathetic score, like not reaching 3 digits.
especially away from home.
Exactly. So it is a bit worrying. Not gonna lie.
We bowled them out for cheap scores in the Caribbean a lot. Because but England do this, and I think for me England's biggest issue is their top order. They can't. They were doing. I don't know what's happened to Rory Burns for this series, but they were having this Burns and Sibley and Crawley. They brought in this. I want to say Lawrence. He was playing up the order in the last game. He became lower down. He got
low order,
46. Yeah. Johnny Bairstow came back in. He batted at number 3. Like all of this, just to make sure Root comes in at 4. Now I understand. Obviously, he is their best batsman, captain. You want to put him in the best position for him to score runs. Cool, fair enough. But your top 3, I mean, not only are they struggling to score runs, I think they're some ugly cricketers. I'm not talking about their looks. I'm talking about the way they bat.
They play.
I don't even look at. I want them to get out, just so they're not on my screen anymore. The technique they have, it just looks so bad. It's like they're walking wicket. Even Rory Burns, even though he scores a bit more runs and sometimes he can look good when he scores a shot, it's the fidgeting around the crease. I hate it.
Just walks around the crease.
Yeah, England is. I think is their top. The top 3 is costing them. Root gets coming, 30 for 3 or 30 for 2, whatever it might be, and you're struggling after that to really build a platform. So They need to sort that if they're gonna really go in there.
I don't mind walking around the crease, innit? At least you get the runs. I mean, I'm a lower order bat. I'm a number 7 batsman, so I don't, so my technique is not going to be the best. But I don't mind if you're walking around the crease. If you get the runs, that's the main thing in my opinion.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's something that I guess as I got older, it's probably because I remember like my dad and my uncles and that kind of stuff. They'll talk about some of them will talk about the likes of Chris Gale's technique ain't good. This person, Jai Surya, technique not good. And I'm just like, well, as long as you get the runs, that's all that matters. Shivnarine Shandapur was probably the biggest architect. So ugly at the crease.
I understand where you're coming from. Like when I used to bat, my dad used to say, "Are you going to go to the shops?" Because I keep on walking around my crease. I kept on moving around my crease. I was like, "Are you going to go shops? I'll give you a shopping list. You're going to go shops if you're going to walk around the crease." He actually told me off. So he told me off for walking around the crease. He didn't like it. He doesn't like it. I get where you're coming from, but for me, maybe it's because I like aggressive batsmen. I want them to hit the ball back at the bowler. I don't really mind it, but I see where you're coming from.
I got bowled around my legs once. Not by a spinner, that was the worst part. It was by it was a seam bowler. I'm trying to remember. Was he going around the wicket? It must have been going around the wicket. And I kind of went too far over to the right hand side. After that, I was like, no, I'm staying still. I practiced on basically staying still at my crease. Didn't move until that ball left his hand. Obviously, if it's a spinner, whatever, I'll come down the wicket and do it. But I was like, no, never again. It was like I need someone like Hashim Amla. I think he's beautiful at the crease. Absolutely beautiful. His cover drives, his on drive, all of that kind of stuff. But I like someone like Chris Gale or whatever. But it's when those people get out, that's where it really looks ugly. It's either a bad defensive shot with a big big gap between bat and pad, or a slog or anything like that. We'll get on to it. We're talking about West Indies when it comes to bloody slogging and getting out, can't play spin. Even though we won. But yeah, back onto the England match. India, dominated. Innings and 25 runs, 3-1 victory. I wanted to speak about go on.
I was gonna say, in terms of your top order batsmen, what do you look for like a front two pairing?
For me, I think you want one of them who is solid, one of them who's like basically not that you don't care about runs, but their priority is to not get out. So I am not going to get out. So you're going to see off the new ball bowlers. The other one, you want someone who's a bit more free flowing. You still want a good technique because the moving ball, especially at the top of the bowlers are fresh, etc. But you want one like that's what West Indies. We've got Craig Brathwaite. I'm happy with Craig Brathwaite. You sit at the top of order and just don't get out. You might end the game or the innings with 40 off 180 balls, whatever in it. You got the other batsman. You got number 3, number 4. You got all the others to maybe make quick runs. Your job is to get the shine off the new ball and tire out the opening bowlers. For me, the next batsman, the number 2 or whatever, other opening batsman, he needs to be a bit more free flowing. But I still want someone who's got a good technique. But I don't mind too much. He has to be the aggressor. For me, your number 3 batsman should be your best batsman. That should be a batsman with the best technique. Even though, to be fair, in modern day cricket, now it's your number 4. So the likes of Kohli, Root, Smith, where does Smith bat? 3 or 4? Because I know Labuschagne is number 3 and Labuschagne comes on 4. So they've got 2 quality, like world-class batsmen. So it doesn't matter which one's 3 or 4. Virat Kohli bats at 4. Root bats at 4. Where does Williamson bat?
Number 3.
He's bat number 3.
Williamson, then Taylor.
So. Okay, so again, you got 2 quality batsmen, and I think that's the right order to have Williamson and then
because if you look at probably the greatest team ever, the Australia team, they had Langer and Justin Langer and Hayden, and I would say they're more like the aggressive style. They like to.
Yes, but Hayden was clearly more aggressive than Langer.
Yeah,
he was. So I think Australia were just a very aggressive team. They were one of the first to be like scoring at 3.5, 4 runs and over consistently in a test match. They had obviously Adam Gilchrist. He was like the kind of pioneer for wicketkeeper batsman, where you couldn't just have someone who's just gonna be a good keeper. They had to be able to pull their weight with a bat. So I think they were, and then got Shane Warne coming in lower as well. Brett Lee could hold a bat. So I think they were pioneers for aggressive cricket throughout, in the sense of let's just score a lot of runs and get them quickly. But Langer was still more defensive than Hayden. Hayden for me was like, no, he wasn't a slasher and dasher, but he's trying to blast you out of the attack. I'm gonna hit you for 4, 6, all that kind of stuff. But then you still had the best batsman, Ricky Ponting, coming at number 3. He was coming number 3. Who was at 4? I want to say Damian Martin, or was he at 5?
It was Lehman. No, Lehman was middle order, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was middle order. Michael Clark was coming in maybe 4, 5 as well. I think Damian Martin might have been at 4.
Yeah,
and then you had Michael
might have been
Clark
Martin, Lehman, then Clark,
something like that. Yeah. So
yeah,
and a lot of people call him for Michael Clark after Ponting retired, to move out the order, but he struggled when he went to 3. Struggled, and he's like, okay, we have to put him back down.
I think some people just prefer being within the middle order, like when I was
from the new ball. That's what it is.
I guess so, but when you like, I'll give you an example of myself. When I was moved up the middle order, I didn't like it. I prefer being the last batsman that can hold a bat. You know what I mean? So it depends. Some people like to play in the middle order. Some people like to play at the top order. It's just what suits them.
But it's funny because I never batted. I never came in at 3. And the only reason I never came out at 3 because, one, I never felt I was the best batsman on any team that I was at. I was a good batsman, but not the best. And because I bowled a lot, I was like, well, if I have to bowl and then bat in the number 3 position, which is supposed to be the best batsman, I think that's a lot of pressure for me. So I did not go there because I'm like, I don't want the pressure of I have to be the best batsman on the team. So I'm like, I'll bowl, open the bowling, whatever. I could bowl spin as well, so I'll sometimes come back later and bowl spin, whatever. And I'll say 4, anything from 4 down, I don't mind. Anything from 4 down, I'll come in. I wasn't like a big hitter, so you wouldn't have me like a slugger, pinch hitter, or anything like that. But I like to score quickly. I'll come on the wicket, knock it for a single, whatever. But yeah, just not anything from 1 to 3. It wasn't me. From 4 downwards, anything like that was fine. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I want to talk about Rishabh Pant, because the first time I saw him, can't remember when it was, but I saw him, and I just thought, all right, this guy is just a bit of a slasher dasher, get runs quickly. I was looking at him, and maybe my bias or PTSD from Hetmeyer, I'm just like, this guy just wants to score runs quickly. He doesn't care about kind of building the innings, but I was completely wrong. I've seen him a few times now in Australia and in this England this England series. And as Nasser Hussain said, people say, this is the way I play. He scored 101 of 118, but other than late in his innings where he played that, I want to say, was it a reverse scoop or was it like a deal scoop? 1 to 2 off Jimmy Anderson. That was the only time when I felt that he took a risk. Everything else played on the ground or where there was no bats, no fielders. And it showed that even within Test cricket, you can play aggressive, you can score quickly without giving your wicket away. That we see a lot of batsmen do time and time again. And I think for me, he could go on to be one of the best wicket batsmen we've seen. I think he's already got the record to share with Gilchrist of scoring a century in Australia, in India, and in England. No other wicket batsman has done that, and he's so young.
Yeah, completely. I remember where I was watching, I think it was the World Cup, and a lot of the Indian commentators were actually being hard on him because they know how good he is. Like, out of the crop of Indian batsmen that were coming up, it was like him and Ishan Kishan. He was like, they were slaying him so hard because they're like, you're meant to be better than Ishan Kishan. Why aren't you showing it, or something like that? And what he's done, and I like this in the batsman, is that even though he likes to hit the ball, slug it and take it out of the park, he does know when to, okay, I need to slow it down. I need to control the game because we're losing wickets. And especially in that Australia innings, it was a mixture of both. It was a mixture of both. There have been times where India were under the cosh. I think it was when they lost the 5th and 6th wicket. They were like, "Oh crap, we might be losing this," and then he just took the reins, and they ended up winning the game. And yeah, it's the mad thing is he's still young. He's still got a lot to learn in Test cricket, and if he does the right things, he will flourish as a cricketer. As simple as that.
100%. Chatting about IPL in the chat. Do you watch IPL? Who do you support?
Yeah.
If you do, who do you support?
I support the Super Kings, the Chennai Super Kings.
I support any team that has the most West Indies players. So whoever's on my screen and they've got the West Indies players, so I'm backing. Generally, I back Chris Gale. So when he was at RCB, I think he might still be there. I don't even know. I don't really follow it as I used to. But whenever West Indies players are playing, I kind of just watch them and I hope that they do well. I don't really follow IPL in that way. There's just so many matches. It's just so many. I can't keep up, man.
Dwayne Bravo was probably our most like consistent West Indies back
at Chennai.
He was great for us. He was great for us, especially.
Who does Russell play for Mumbai? Is it? Or I could be wrong. Maybe not.
He plays for Kolkata.
Pollard plays for Mumbai.
Yeah. I don't like him.
You don't like Pollard?
Nah, the amount of times he's crushed my dreams.
Okay. Well, there's a question there from Alan. Oh, not that one. No. Alanda says, "Who would you guys say is West Indies' most promising batsman in each format?" That's when he says Pooran looks the best in white ball for West Indies. See,
I like Pooran.
I do. I think Pooran is probably our best batsman, full stop, across, just in terms of natural ability. Shea Hope has very good natural ability, but he lacks. I don't know what it is. Sometimes the ability to. I think the ability to read a game situation, know when to take the singles, when to go for the big shots, know your game. Because everyone around him is hitting big 6s and 4s and that kind of stuff. He sometimes feels he needs to do it, but that's not his game. He is a nerd. I say it all the time. Look at Williamson. Look at Root. Kohli to an extent as well. When you look at the India team, there's a lot of bigger hitters, especially in white ball cricket. The likes of Sharma, Darwan, Pandya. They've got, and we know Rishabh Pant. They've got big hitters. Kohli can hit the ball, but he's more of a stroke maker. Play along the ground, pass the infield. That's Shea Hope's game. But sometimes he gets bogged down, and it's like, let me go for a big hit. And he gets out because he can't hit the ball big. You need to know your game. And I think Pooran knows his game. The issue with Pooran is, I don't have an issue with Pooran, I think it's the way that we're using him. We've kind of pigeonholed him as like this T20 batsman or a lower order big hitting ODI guy. And I'm like, no, but he strikes the ball so cleanly on the ground. He does, like, he comes in, and it's like he doesn't have to play himself in. First ball, he's hitting it cleanly. You hear the sound of the bat. I think natural ability, he's so good. Hetmeyer, natural ability, he's right up there. I don't think his technique's as good as Pooran's, but mentally, he hasn't got it. Hetmeyer mentally has not got it. Twice now he's failed fitness test for West Indies cricket. So he's missed out on squads because of it. And when he gets to the wicket, he'll be scoring runs quickly, and then he'll just go for a big shot and get out. Like, mentally, I don't know. Right now, he hasn't got it to be performing consistently for West Indies. I think they need to play Pooran and trust him in test matches, because he hasn't played a test match yet. I think he's just ODIs and T20s. Right. I think he's the best.
All right. Okay. What about Powell?
Rovman?
Yeah.
I don't know about Rovman Powell, man. He can hit the ball, and that's it. Like, they brought him back in for this last T20. I don't know why. He didn't bowl. He got a 6 and got out. I don't know. I don't know about him. When he came, go on.
I thought another one was Jason Holder. I thought he'd be a great player.
Well, Jason was a good player. And I think he's he's a very talented player. He's, he was leading all-rounder at one point. He got a double century against England. But again, for me, when it comes, I think there's two things: responsibility when it comes to batting, I think he backs himself too lower down in the order, especially in test matches. I think he should be one space up, take some more responsibility. Maybe you can play another bowler if you bat higher on order. I think the captaincy isn't helping in the sense that he's got a lot to think about, and I don't think he's a great captain. I think that's the poorest part of his game is for me is his captaincy. If I'm going to be completely honest, you see the difference between him and Pollard. Pollard, you see the experience, the kind of the know-how of how to influence a game as a captain. You can go out there with a plan. All right, guys, we're going to bowl like this to this guy. This is the fields we're going to set. X, Y, Z. But when you get onto the pitch, things can change. They can get off to a good start. You need to do something in game to change it. Holder doesn't seem to have that. He's very reactive, whereas Pollard is a proactive. And then maybe that comes with experience, but Holder's still been around for a little while. I'm not seeing real progress in terms of captaincy. You compare that to Brathwaite. I know it's only a couple of tests in Bangladesh, but he brings himself onto bowl because we need to get wickets. The pitch is spinning. Let's do something different. He comes on, gets a wicket, takes himself off straight away because it was a plan that worked. He doesn't want to overdo it. Brings himself back on later, gets another wicket. Holder would do something like, he might bring him on. They might talk about it over tea time. All right, bring Brathwaite onto bowl. Brathwaite gets a wicket and he'll just keep him on for the rest of the session, for example. It's like, no, you just need to do things to influence it in short, sharp bursts. And I don't know if Holder's got that. So I think his biggest issue is probably his captaincy. Dashmeet says, big up, we have Gale and Poran and now Fabian Allen, Punjab Kings. Punjab Kings 11, they're not very good, are they?
I mean, I can't really talk because we finished last time.
Punjab Kings, is that Punjab Kings 11, isn't it?
Kings 11, Punjab, yeah.
They I'm sure every time I look at that table, I feel like they're always down there. I don't know. Maybe
they flat to deceive. They deceive a lot. They have good moments, and then they end up bottling it somehow. I don't know. Like they have. I like their captain, KR Rahul. I really like as a white ball player, but I don't know how. They've got the squad, they've got the players, but I don't know how they don't qualify. I honestly don't.
So yeah, speaking about T20, West Indies versus Sri Lanka. Surprise if you didn't know, West Indies won the series 2-1. And we got off to a good start. Got Sri Lanka 131 for 9 in the first T20. Oben McCoy getting 2 for 25. Wickets from Sinclair, Holder, Fabian Allen, Dwayne Bravo in the side. Chris Gale back into the side. He didn't get a wicket, but he's back into the side. And Fidel Edwards. I don't know where this one came from. I know he's been playing cricket. I've seen him in the CPL. I don't know if he's playing IPL, but he's definitely in the CPL. 39 years old. Chris Gale, 41. So combined age is 80. Sorry, I support Punjab and Arsenal, biggest bottles. Sad. Sorry about that, bro. But yeah, Fidel comes back into the side, and I'm just like, I don't know where that came from. It's completely left field. But we know we got a T20 World Cup coming up. They wanted to bring that experience back in. And he did all right. The wicket that he got, I think it was touching 85, 86 miles an hour at 39 years old. So that's not bad. I'll give him that. But the real story, and actually this match, it highlights some things that we'll see as the series progressed. So we got off to a good start. Lendl Simmons, Evan Lewis, they put on 50 in about 3 overs. So it was like, game's over. Like, we're doing this. Then Dhananjaya comes on with his off spin, gets a hat trick. Lewis, Gale, Poran, 3 in a row. I think the Gale one went straight on LBW. Lewis was caught long off, and Poran got out driving and got caught behind by the keeper. And that was a hat trick. And you're thinking, bloody hell, how have we let Sri Lanka back in this game? Literally, the game was done. It's 52 for none after 3.1 overs. Like, you can't lose from there. They get the hat trick and then they get another wicket a few balls there. And West Indies are really making the mountain out of this. And Kieron Pollard. Now, I don't know if you saw it. You said your dad was watching it, but I don't know if you saw it. 6 sixes in an over off Dhananjaya. So the same guy that got a hat trick, he came back for his next over, and Kieron Pollard just teed off. He literally, and I mean, I guess the pressure sometimes gets to bowlers. We know Karen Pollard loves to score straight down the wicket. So you try and bowl either a bit wide on the offside, so he has to kind of reach for it. If you're a fast bowler, sometimes you drop it short. But Danajay kept putting into the slot. And he got one, then he got two. And you're like, all right, two big sixes, cool. Then he got the third one, and you sit up in your chair, you're like, okay, I might be witnessing a bit of history here. Then he gets the fourth one. And then you're thinking, you're like, all right, Pollard knows what's happening now. He has to get this one. Then he gets the fifth one, and he clears it out of the ground, and they have to change the ball. And now when that happens, I'm like, oh, damn it, they've kind of ruined the momentum because I think I've changed the ball, and the game has stopped, blah, blah, blah. And then Danajay goes around the wicket, thinking, oh, let me change the angle. Pollard right into his slot, just rock back, bam, over, I think it was deep mid-wicket, whatever it was. 6 sixes. And obviously, we had Ian Bishop on commentary, which is, I think, just the best. Whenever West Indies, especially, Ian Bishop in commentary. And he said, Yuvraj, Harbhajan Singh, Herschel Gibbs, you have company, because we know them two. Gibbs against Netherlands in the 2011 World Cup or 2007 World Cup.
No. 2000. It was T20. It was a T20 World Cup.
Yuvraj was T20. No,
yeah, Yuvraj was T20
in 2007.
2007. No.
Yuvraj was 2000. Which one was 2011?
Was the Netherlands one.
Yes. So 2007, Yuvraj against Stuart Broad, England.
Yeah.
And 2011, 50 over World Cup, Herschel Gibbs against Netherlands. And the Netherlands one is a bit, it's Netherlands, well done, but it's Netherlands. Yeah. For Yuvraj to do it against Stuart Broad, and I think the keeper was standing up for at least part of the over. And then Karen Pollard to do it against Sri Lanka, so proper, test playing nations. Unbelievable. It's just a shame there was no crowd to see it. And then that was pretty much the game. 36 and over, the maximum you can really get. And that took the game away from New Zealand. We still made it a bit tricky for ourselves, lost another wicket. But that was like the standout moment of the game, and the standout of the series.
I feel as though I don't want to rain on the parade, right?
Rain on it if you can. You can't rain on my parade. What are you saying?
I don't rate Sri Lanka. I honestly don't.
I hear you. I do hear you.
I'll tell you why, right? One of my mates had the opportunity to go on tour in Sri Lanka, and I think they were playing the under-21s there. The Sri Lankan under-21s, like up and coming ones. They were talking about these guys are going to be top players. They ended up whitewashing them for, I think, 3-0. And my friend, he doesn't play for any of the lower level England cricket teams.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? If a guy that doesn't really play that much does that to Sri Lankan like up and coming players, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well for them. I told my dad this, and he was like, "Yeah, the way they play, the style, the bowlers is just meh. It is meh."
The thing is, I think Sri Lanka are really they're going through definitely a big transition. Losing from the Muralis and the Jayawardenas, the Sangakaras, Chaminda Vas. Malinga. Malinga was kind of the last. They were holding on to him, and you can only really do the T20s. They're really struggling. They have got some, Herath as well. He was a very good spinner.
Yeah.
They've got some good spinners. Their issue, which we saw throughout this series, was really just scoring runs, especially when it comes to T20. They can't hit big. And I think as much as you can trust your bowlers, you still need your batsmen to score runs, to put runs on the board, to give them something to bowl at. As I said, they made 131 in the first, bowled out. The second, they got 160. And they won by 43 runs, because 160 is not a massive score, but if you've got the bowlers, you can defend it.
Yeah.
But they don't have the quality of batsmen to consistently get 150 plus. I think if they get 150 on the right wicket, they've got the bowlers to defend it. But the batsmen are just not good enough to consistently get over 150, and that'll always cost them. And I don't know what they're going to do about the batting, because I'm seeing that they've got some talented batsmen, but they really lack the consistency to score runs, and
Well,
they're not
the
a threat.
likes
Like you
the likes
go into a tournament, they're not a threat.
like the likes of Karen Ratner and obviously Angela Matthews are there, but other than that,
Yeah, I mean, Angela Matthews obviously is the captain.
yeah,
You know, a bit of an old timer, but you want to put a bit more. You want the likes of, I don't know, Dick Wellers and those kind of people to kind of step up. You know, they had Dil Shan as well back in the days. They had a lot of legendary.
Taranga.
Yep, yeah,
They
Uma
had
Taranga.
who else did they have?
Pereira. Maybe he still plays at the moment.
Matthews was part of that. Matthews was part of
Yeah,
that
but Matthews
team.
was the younger one of that
Yeah,
part, and obviously he's
yeah, he
come through
was.
now as now the older ones. But I just don't think that the supporting cast are there. But I'm not complaining because sorry, West Indies have been going through a bloody transition for like 30 years, 40 years even. So no, it's about 30. Yeah, 30 years. I'll take the win. I'll take the win.
Even with Laura's team.
Yeah, listen. But see, we had a lot of talent. We had definitely more talent than Sri Lanka, 100%. Because that team, like a lot of those players you would speak of individually, would get into a lot of the best teams in the world as individuals. But for some reason, a lot of it was to do with the board, just like infighting within the teams and the selections, etc. We couldn't string consistent performances together. We had obviously we know we had the likes of Walsh and Ambrose. They were there throughout the 90s and mid 2000s. Lara was there, Shandapur. So you look at that's world class. You know, Gail came through. Jimmy Adams was there, Carl Hooper. But I think for me, it's probably more a mentality thing. That they just again, like England, just collapsed. We just used to just collapse. We play some good sessions and it's like, oh, 1 wicket, 2, 3, 4, 5, all out. Like that was us. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I would agree. Nowhere near like Sri Lanka. I think Sri Lanka are struggling from a lack of quality. We were struggling from a lack of professionalism. I would say, like we had
I think it
literally
just didn't
people.
work. It just
Say
didn't
again.
fit. Do you think it just didn't fit? Like,
Well, we had people in our squad sleeping with the wives of other team members. Like that's the kind of I'm not naming no names. I'm not naming no names. But there was sleep. That is the madness that we had going on. Then we had issues in terms of selection where I think people felt that certain islands were getting people picked from this. So a team with too many Bajans, too many Jamaicans. Like there was all the too much politics. Because obviously it's not just one country, it's so many different islands. So too much politics going on with the selections. Then you had the pay disputes that came later. All of those kind of things that just mess up West Indies cricket. And you have to question I've done videos in it. You have to question the board in terms of what their intentions were. Were they doing what's best for them? Or in terms of sponsorship, etc., or were they doing best was for the team, etc. So, it was disappointing because we had some great players over that time, and we won stuff. We won the ICC Champions Trophy in 2004, brilliant moment. Then in 2012, so that was after Lara's generation. Yeah. So that was the Gales, I didn't even mention Sarwan, but we had the Gales, Bravo, Sammy, Pollard, Simmons, Samuels. We had those players. We won the 2012. Was
Narayan there?
Narayan. We can't see Narayan anymore. But it's like that team before, we'll get those we get certain big wins. Like we get a world record chase. It's only West Indies. We probably get bowled out for 61 in one test. Then we chase down 480 in the next test. That's only West Indies can do that. So it was just so frustrating. But
because I remember the team that Lara had, I think at that time, there were so many players that could hold their own. Like Sarwan used to hold his own against like Glenn McGrath.
Yep.
I'm like, how has this team not been consistent?
I also don't think Lara was a great captain. He was the star of the team, but I don't think he was a great captain. He used to. We played England once. Ponting was a good captain. We were playing England, and we Fido Edwards, and it may have been Tino Best. I can't remember who was at the other end, but they had Andrew Flintoff on the ropes just before lunch. Like, man was all bouncing in, man jumping around the crease, can't deal with it. They go to lunch, he survives. So you're thinking, all right, new session. You come out and we go again, pepper them. Man brought on, it was either Dave Mohammed or Nagamutu, the leg spinner. I'm like, I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. Did you not watch? You were on the pitch for the session before. Did you not see what Fidel Edwards was doing to Flintoff? You bring on the leg spinner, and then you play Flintoff in. Flintoff can just knock it to the boundary, get one. Then by the time you bring back on Edwards and Best, the man's in. He's seen the ball like a beach ball. And I was just like, it's those kind of stupid. You think, wow, why? Why are you doing that? Why is there only one slip in? Like the innings had just started, and you got one slip. Flintoff used to come into the wicket, and he just put everyone on the boundary because we're scared of Flintoff. Every batsman has to get in. You attack every new bat. Like, he was too defensive. He was too defensive. And it doesn't take away from his genius as a batsman. Great batsman. For me, the greatest of all time. But his captaincy was poor. It didn't help. I won't say it was the only problem, but it didn't help.
Surely with great players, it does help. Right? Ricky Ponting is probably the best captain, but he had so many good players around him.
Yeah, it does 100%. Same thing as Clive Lloyd. They say that he was a great captain, but he also had great players around him.
Even you could say Sangakkara as well, because he had great players around him.
Yeah. I think to be a great captain, yes, you probably need great players around you, but you can see a good captain from a bad captain, regardless of how many great players are there. Because you got captains that try, and you're basically getting the best out of what you can do. Lara did not get the best out of the teams around him. The players around him, but I don't think it was just his fault. There's a lot of issues with the board. Ken Aberdeen in the chat says, not quite. You don't attack every new batsman. It may backfire. But yes. But I mean, firstly, I think you do. For me, you attack every new batsman. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done in the past. Every batsman, you start on zero. You attack them. I don't even care what the score is. The new batsman, minimum 2 slips. Minimum 2 slips. You might want to get someone in around the bat. I don't care what the wickets say. I don't care. Even if you're only attacking for an over and he hits 4 fours and you think, damn, this guy's played himself in already. But you don't do first ball, everyone's on the boundary. How are you going to get a wicket? You have to bowl him or LBW. How are you going to get a wicket? So I think every new batsman you have to attack. I'm talking about in Test cricket. ODI cricket is a bit different because it's limited overs. You're trying to limit the amount of runs they score. Obviously, we know wickets are the best way to do that. But sometimes you're like, let me just let them get a single and maybe get the other person on strike. There's more nuance to ODI cricket because you're like, all right, we want the leg spinner to bowl to the right-handed batsman or the off spinner to the right-handed batsman, whatever it might be. If you get hit for 6 in Test cricket, it don't matter. It's 6 runs.
Yeah.
In ODI cricket, that can be the difference between winning and losing the game. So, it's not one and the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
Second test. As I said, sorry, second test. They came back into it. They got 160. Sri Lanka. Sorry, second test. Second T20.
Second T20.
Yeah, 160 for 6. The opener, who's the opener? Gunnar Tilaka. Don't know how to say his name. He got 56 anyway.
Do you want me to say it for you?
Go on then.
I think it's Gunnar Tilaka.
Gunnar Tilaka. He got 56. Nisanka got 37. Bravo was very good in this. He got the run out, which broke the first partnership, and he was looking like the old Bravo, the Bravo that we all knew. He's a man. See, Bravo is a proper cricketer in the sense that obviously we know he bats, he bowls, he fields, but he's a thinking cricketer. He's always thinking about what can I do to try and affect the game. He doesn't just go through the motions. All right, I said I'm going to bowl, Yorkers. So I'm going to bowl Yorkers. Or I'm going to put every ball. It's like, what do I do now? The last ball, the batsman tried to hit me for 6. All right, this one, I'm going to push it out there. He doesn't just bowl to a plan. He changes it. And I think I remember when Bravo first came into West Indies side, he was a breath of fresh air, something different. Always think. I remember he got out Kevin Peterson with a slower bouncer. It took his helmet off and hit the wicket. And it's like, all right, it's fortunate that he hit the wicket, but it's because he bowls a slower bouncer. No one else was doing that. Everyone's just bowling line and length, and Peterson just going across and flicking it here, flicking it there. Do something different. And he wasn't quick. He was bowling at 85 miles an hour. He had faster bowlers there. But yeah, he's something else. Even at his older age, I think he might be about 37 now. But
38. He's old. He is
Yeah.
old.
But yeah, we just couldn't play spin. Sandakan got free. De Silva got free. And
hasn't that been a problem for you guys for quite a bit of time?
Spin? Spin.
Spin.
Yeah, man, we can't play spin. That's our biggest issue when it comes to probably ODI cricket or limited over cricket, because you have to Test cricket. You can block, and then whatever. Yeah, you need to keep the runs ticking over in ODI cricket, in limited overs cricket. It's the middle overs. The first 6 is cool. Power play, hit over the top, whatever. Anything in between that, so whether it's ODI or T20, when you just have to knock it around, get some singles, and then put away the bad ball, it's just block, 6, out. Like, we've got the highest boundary hitting percentage in T20 cricket, and I think we also have the highest dot ball percentage. Like, just bring it in a bit. If you have to lower because we can hit big, so when the ball's there, we'll do it. Hit the ball. We're always looking to go big. So if the ball's not there, then we just have to block, because we're not looking to put it around the corner or anything like that. That's my problem.
Yeah. I feel when we played you in New Zealand, I think you did really properly struggle with Mitch Santner. Mitch Santner, I want to say, is the most I'll say he's a talented bowler, but he's not got a lot of variation in him. He's very one side of spinning. And for you guys to struggle against that, I was a bit,
Yeah, it's not good. Which you know what? It's funny because we've won the 2 T20s we won. One was in Sri Lanka. I think the second was in India. Yeah, the 2016 was in India, and the 2012 was in Sri Lanka, which is 2 subcontinent pitches. But we had Narayan and we had Badri, so we had our own spinners as well. Now our spinners are, Fabian Allen. He did all right in the third test and the third T20. Who else we got? I can't remember. I don't even know who other spinners we got. Is that it? Is this Fabian Allen who we had playing? Kevin Sinclair, the guy who does somersaults after every wicket that he gets. But yeah, our spinning department is pretty poor, which doesn't help as well. But yeah, went on to the third T20. Again, restricted them to 131, which is a problem for Sri Lanka not being able to score runs. But bloody hell, we made a meal of it. 134 for 7. Again, we got off to a decent start. 37 of 4.5 overs. And then wickets started tumbling. 37 for 1, 54 for 2, 61 for 3, 75 for 4, 95 for 5, 105 for 6, 105 for 7. And it's just like every time we started building a little partnership, because the run rate never got away from us. But every time we started building a little partnership, we just
you guys do this all the time.
Exactly, it is. We do this all the time. It's very
like you make a partnership and then you lose your heads. Like
they get ahead of themselves. They get excited. They play themselves in a bit. It's like, all right, now it's my turn. Now it's my time to hit a 6. Everyone doesn't have to hit a 6. But again, they're struggling to play the spin. So you end up playing a lot of dot balls, and it's like, all right, I need to do something. And inevitably, it's after a couple dot balls that they try and play a big shot and get out. I think Jason Holder did it very well. Hasaranga on his last, who's probably their star bowler, star spin bowler at least, on the last over, he just blocked it out. I think there was 1 no ball, and then the next ball hit for 6. That was the only run scored of the over. So the no ball and the 6 was 7 off the over. Everything else, Holder just blocked, because it was like it's his last over. We give Fabian Allen can bat against the off spinner, Danaraya. Oh, I can't remember his name now. I think it's Danaraya. And Dananjaya, sorry. Dananjaya. And man just went ham, 6s. I think he had 21 off 6 balls in the end. Won the game. 3 6s in the over, a couple of 2s. And that's how you have to play. You have to play it smart. Like every batsman, which was the issue in the second test, it's like they had plans. All right, the left-handers will bat against this bat bowler. The right-handers will bat against this. But everyone just thought, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to be the star. And the next one, man, Holder just said, no, let's take this seriously now. Block this out. We've got 2 or 3 overs to win the game. We've got, like, we would always score runs because we've got the guys all the way down the over can do it. You don't need to force it. You really don't. So, fortunately, we were able to win that game. It should have been much more comfortable than it was, but we take it anyway. Progression towards the T20 and a 2-1 victory. So we've got, obviously, the tour continues. So it ain't stopped there. We have got, I want to say, 3 ODIs, but I could be wrong. 3 ODIs, and then we've got 2 test matches against Sri Lanka. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully we can build on the win. Like when we went to Bangladesh and won there as well in the test matches anyway. We didn't win the ODIs. And we can build on the win, rise up the rankings, hopefully. And I know we're not in the World Test Championship, but hopefully in the next couple season of the World Test Championship, we can see ourselves in the final. Finally, New Zealand versus Australia. Now, I didn't watch this series, so you can kind of take me through it. Of course, we know New Zealand won in the end by 3 matches to 2. So exciting series. What was your takeaway from the series?
Martin Guptill still got it. He still got it. I think the first 2 matches, he got 90. Yeah, he got 91 in the. I think one of the matches he got 91.
Let me see. So the first one, we had Conway. Oh, Conway got 99 in the first.
Conway got 99. Yeah. And then in the second one, he got 97 in the second one.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think personally for me, he was player of the series. He was incredible that the series. Kevin Conway was also very, very good. Like, he had his moments.
Yeah.
I think still that consistency still needs to be there for him. Australia did pull it back. They did pull it back.
Yeah, because when you 2-0 up.
Yeah, we were 2-0 up, and they pulled it back through Aaron Finch and Glenn Maxwell, who are world-class cricketers in their own right.
Yeah, I rate Maxwell so highly. I think he's so dangerous.
I think he's the best limited overs all-rounder in the world, in my opinion. He can bat, he can bowl, and he has bucket hands as well. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. And then the second win was down to Aaron Finch, really. Aaron Finch literally just did hold his own. Was not out in the end, so 79 not out, so it was good. And their bowlers were they skittled our batting order. It was worrying to see.
106, buddy, yeah, 106.
They skittled us. They did. I thought for a moment with Cypher and the likes of Conway, we might pull something out of this, but then nope.
So this Kane Richardson, what is he? A fast bowler?
He's a fast bowler. Kane Richardson's a fast bowler.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we ended up pulling it back in the last T20 relatively comfortably with about 527 balls left to spare.
Yeah, you would have hoped that for the finale, as exciting as it was, you would have hoped that it would have been a bit closer for the last game, but you got them 142 in the first. For their innings. 71.
what this T20 series shows us is that we have got a good balance, but it's again we do have the tendency to drop the ball, and then we somehow pull it back, which is great, but it's ideally you don't want this to happen. Ideally you don't want this to happen.
So going
Um,
into well, actually, first of all, we're going into the you got World Test Champion. Wait, what's the rest of this tour?
that's it. I think it's
Okay,
only T20, and then they got ODI against Bangladesh
okay,
on the 19th of March, and then they're heading to England for 2 tests.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
and
so
then in
you got
June,
yeah, because you got the two tests against England, and then you play the World Test
championship
final.
final. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
and then the T20 World Cup is later this year.
it's November, I think.
'Cause it was supposed to
But
be last year, wasn't it? But
it was
COVID.
meant to be last year November, but I think they moved it another year because obviously what happened. Um, but I think they were trying to make it the summer, but it didn't work with the calendar, so they had to push it back even further. So yeah,
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, it's well done to New Zealand. Good series. I didn't watch it. And the times I can't be waking up at them times to watch. I barely like. I also barely got. The good thing about the India one is that the matches.
day and night.
Well, not them their night, but they would start. But like the earliest they started was like 6 a.m. if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So by the time I wake up, yeah, I might miss the first session, but I can catch most of it on there.
Mm.
But yeah, is what it is. But yeah, West Indies series win, India series win, and New Zealand series win. Dashmate says Jamieson was awful with the ball.
Ah, he's
Is
still young, man. He's like, how old is he? He's 24, isn't he? So he's still got time, man. Like he's 26, sorry. Like he's still got years left in him, man. Give him time.
Martin Guptill has 2,839 runs, just behind King Kohli. He was around 2,950. I mean, that's credit to Guptill
My Guptill.
that he's
Yeah.
keeping up with Kohli, who I think is the best batsman in the world. You still think
No,
it's Kane Williamson? I mean,
yeah, still
listen.
Kane.
What? Listen, you know what I like about this World Test Championship? Because Test cricket, we just everything just goes through the motion. You play it, you play it, you play it, and there's no end in sight. You just keep playing it. I know they've got this, the mass which you can win as the number one team, blah blah. But there's no there's a World Cup for 50 overs, a World Cup for T20, the ITC Champions Trophy. Now you've got some kind of tournament league table that culminates in the best test team. So you might finish. Yeah, okay, of course, if you finish in second and you win it, then I'm sure they'll do the ranking so you move up to first.
Mm.
It's like with the World Cup in terms of football. You would play all these international friendlies, qualify, but then the World Cup determines who's the best. I don't care where you sit in the ranking. I don't care. The World Cup determines who's the best. Now, as good as Williams has been, as good as Kohli's been, this is the moment now. You have to now do it in this moment, in this final, and prove you are the best player, whether it's the batsman, bowler, all-rounder, captain, team, whatever it might be. You got 5 days to prove you're the best. No excuses. It's as long as it don't rain out. I don't want to draw. I hope we don't get a draw. I think if they say they draw, you share it. I don't want to share
Share
trophy.
the points. I don't want to know. Yeah.
Nonsense. So you want to say Williams is the best? I'm saying Kohli. This is the opportunity. Prove it.
Not even that. Not even that. You also got a little subplot with the bowlers as well. Who's the best? Who's the best bowler out of India and Australia? Australia, India, and New Zealand. Obviously, they got Jasprit Bumrah, who's a very, very talented bowler. We've got the old guard in Neil Wagner and Tim Southey, who I personally think is the being unbiased. I want to try and be unbiased. I think he's second. I think he's second behind Pat Cummins, but that's yeah.
Wait, who's second man for Pat Cummins?
Tim Southey. Because Neil Wagner's is second, and I think Southie is a better bowler than him.
Okay, I mean, are they even better than Shannon Gabriel?
I think so.
I'm joking.
But yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be a great game. It is gonna be a great game.
I think it will be.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got. I look at the rankings now. So yeah, you got Kane Williamson's clear.
It's
Let me,
clear.
let me bring up the rankings so everyone can see it. I don't check it that often. Let's see. Um, so you got Kane Williamson, Steve Smith. You see that?
Not yet.
Oh, sorry. There we
There we
go.
go. Yeah.
Kane Williamson, Steve Smith, Labuschagne, Joe Root, Virat Kohli sitting in fifth. Bloody
I
hell,
think
man.
because he hasn't played a lot. He hasn't played the last couple of Test matches.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, because you have to go home for the Australia
He had a
one.
baby, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
was it Rahane took over the reins? I think it was.
Yeah.
Bowling in Test, you got Pat Cummins, Neil Wagner, Ashwin, Hazelwood. I was gonna say you said Cummins.
Nah,
I would have personally had Hazelwood second. I'm not gonna lie. But to be fair, you've got Neil Wagner.
no. Southie's better than Hazelwood.
You
Honestly.
see, I don't know about that. I rate Hazelwood so highly.
I rate Hazelwood, but I think Southie's a better bowler.
I don't know.
I'm not being biased here. I personally think. I personally think Southie's a better bowler.
That's what we said. I wanted to play New Zealand so badly after 2019 semi-finals. It still hurt me because that's the one that got rained out, and they had to play on the reserve day.
Yeah, they did.
And were India ahead before it rained out?
No. It's the first innings. It was the first innings, right? They were. Sorry, they were like sort of ahead in terms of by then runs they needed off balls and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like if it had played out in the day, I think India may have won. I think they would have. But then, it rained out. They had to play the next day, and New Zealand just.
Do you know the funny thing is? I think we were in. Yeah, my family were in Sri Lanka at the time. We were there. We were watching it. My gran was there. Everyone was there. They're literally supporting India. I was the only one supporting New Zealand. When Lockie Ferguson got the wicket for Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, I was like crazy, and they all looked at me like I was some mug.
Traitor. Madrid says we've gone from Callis to Holder as number one. I want my cricket like it used to be.
Hey,
man. I said I hear you. Well done to Holder, innit? You have to respect him for being number one. Jadeja's number two. Wait, I saw a comment earlier. What did he say about Jadeja? Where is it? Jadeja says hi, best all rounder. No. Jason Holder says hi, best all rounder. How about that?
Yeah, where's Glenn Maxwell?
This is Test.
Oh no, this is Test. I still think limited overs. He's better.
ODI, you got Shakib Al Hassan. Glenn Maxwell is not in the top 10, but I mean, I still rate him highly. I rate him higher than a lot of the people on this. I rate him higher than Chris Waltz, for example. Trent Bolt is top of the ODI. Kohli top of ODI, and then you got the T20, and you've got David Malan. See, I'm not putting David Malan. He's a good player, but
he hasn't done much after. Doesn't matter. Like he's good, but not consistent enough.
No, there's Glenn Maxwell there. In the batting one, number 8, and he is third in the T20. In the all rounder stakes. Rashid Khan. There you go. New Zealand, Salvi, Shantner, Cottrell, Sheldon, Cottrell, salute. But yeah, listen, it'll be interesting. Of cricket, really. As I said, we've got a few more series to get through. Then you got the World Test Championship, and of course, the T20 World Cup at the end of the year. But listen, guys, until then, Make sure you like the video. I'll be back after the ODI series with a review, at least, of the West Indies. Definitely get Ram back on soon as well. And of course, I'll be here after the test series, 2-match test series with West Indies and Sri Lanka as well. Like the video, share the content. Check out Ram on the socials. His @ is there. You'll see him on the football terrace as well, weeping and moaning about Liverpool. But we'll save that for another day. And yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.